Welcome to your Daily 5 for Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Now, I talked about how Samurai Cop, when I did the review yesterday, was a movie that underwhelmed me a bit because I had heard so much about it, and, ultimately watching it, there just wasn't much of anything there that was, I guess, new to me, which I think I said clearly it's not really being fair to Samurai Cop. It is still amusing, but it is one of those things where I felt like, okay, I've seen enough stuff now that this movie doesn't really have any surprises for me. Well, that is absolutely not the case for the movie that we watched after Samurai Cop, 1983's The Boxer's Omen. I would say with a great deal of understatement that neither Lando or I were ready for the amount of, whoa, this is something different that this movie provided. Oh boy, it is very difficult for me to be able to really express how much this movie genuinely surprised us right from almost the beginning and kept building up new surprises the whole way through. So I, again, like Samurai Cop, I've heard of this movie before, but not with the amount of coverage and commentary that, say, Samurai Cop had. So I didn't know everything about it. I knew the basic setup. I'd seen a couple of clips, but there was a lot about this movie that I knew nothing about and was a total surprise. The movie's basic narrative construction is that a gangster has a brother who is a fighter, hence the boxer's omen of the title, and gets severely injured in a boxing match. And so asks his gangster brother to take revenge on the person who basically paralyzed him. And this leads to a journey that involves things like the gangster finding out he's actually secretly related or the reincarnated twin of a Buddhist monk who needs his help to attain his final form, and a fight with a black magic wizard who has disciples in the form of a bat, an alligator, a snake, and I can't remember the fourth one. This movie has everything in terms of a black magic boxing revenge film. I don't know how many of those there actually are. This may be the only one, but wow, this thing is stuffed with sequences that you will never be able to forget in the best ways. However, to be fair, I have to warn everybody, this movie has a couple things that may be instant non-starters for certain types of viewers. One is, if you are sensitive to seeing people eat disgusting things, don't watch this movie. You will see people eat, and they are actually eating disgusting things. I'm not going to go into any more detail about it. We'll talk about it on Friday because I want to spare you that if you're really sensitive to it. The other is there is some actual animal mutilation in this film, specifically chickens. That I don't know how many people will be directly sensitive to. There's not a ton of it, but it is there. And from what I have read, and I don't know enough about the cultures involved, but apparently this was a Hong Kong film about, I believe, Thai religious elements. And so there's been some stuff I've read that said that this was very insensitive to Buddhist religion in terms of how certain things are depicted. As a moronic American with no Buddhist knowledge whatsoever, I did not detect any of this stuff. But if that is you as an audience member, be aware there may be some things in here that I don't know could be considered blasphemy. I really don't know. I don't know enough about the religion. So I want to make sure I mention those things out of consideration for the viewer. But if none of those things apply to you, then boy, I could not recommend this movie highly enough. It is out there. And like I said, there are things I saw in this movie that will stick with me for a long time in the best way in terms of visuals, which are some really, really strong visuals. Just some of the way that fight sequences are handled. It's just got it all. I mean, we're going to talk about it on Friday because this is probably the movie we have the most to say about relatively because there's so much in it worth discussing. And I think we both were really blown away by this movie because Lando certainly had never heard of it. I only knew the basics about it. And so to have this be the first experience and just have this thing envelop us with its unique approach to everything was amazing. So again, some caveats that I've already covered, but outside of those, I could not highly enough recommend 1983's The Boxer's Omen, which you can watch anywhere, and you should do so right away. Later.